Parkland parents with a sky-high message for the president.
He didn't receive us, so we had to find a way to send a message.
As one is carted away in cuffs. Red and blue states alike.
I think every state's got to make its decision.
Relaxing mask mandates as numbers continue to fall. And 3 Olympic speed skaters.
We grew up skating on the same team, also with Joey Mantia, who's here on the team with us.
All calling the same Florida town home. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Anya Joseph.
I'm Janana Restrepo. Today is Tuesday, February 15, 2022.
From the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Biden, it reads 45,000 people died from gun violence on your watch. The stunt was courtesy of the father of Parkland victim to mark yesterday's 4th anniversary of the shooting.
And as Sophia Lama from our D.C. Bureau reports, the father is out of police custody this morning, and he is speaking.
The father of a student killed in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting climbed a crane near the White House to send a message 4 years after the shooting.
We saw the crane, and I said, okay, that could be an option.
Manuel Oliver went to great heights to send a message. He climbed on top of a tower at a construction site near the White House.
Safety. I know that I need to stay safe. Joaquin needs me here, so I got to take care of myself. If I'm not here, Joaquin's dad can do what he does.
Oliver's son, Joaquin, was one of the 17 people killed in the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. He says the Biden administration has not done enough to stop future tragedies.
Manuel is still Joaquin's dad. He's representing Joaquin in a way to be heard.
Oliver is not the only one who is using the anniversary of the shooting to speak out against gun violence. Anti-gun violence groups are using the grim anniversary to put renewed pressure on the White House. David Hogg, a Parkland survivor, says President Joe Biden has been a friend, but not a leader.
I'm disappointed, and frankly, if I could say one thing to the president, it's that we need you to go out and act right now before the next Parkland happens, because there are things that you can do right now to help prevent it that you have not done. We need you to make good on your promises because kids are dying.
Police arrested 3 people following the incident. In Washington, D.C., for the South Florida Media Network, Sophia Lama.
The autopsy results are out this morning from the investigation into Brian Laundrie's death. Officials released those results yesterday. It's been concluded that he died from a gunshot wound to the head. Before he was found, his remains were in 3 feet of water. Some personal items were found as well, including a notebook with his confession to Petito's murder.
Masks might become a thing of the past as the United States begins to adapt with living with the COVID-19 virus rather than fighting it. The network's Eugenia Sherderin is in the control center with more.
Yesterday, Washington, D.C. announced the end of mask requirements. Business can continue requiring masks if necessary. However, the mandate will still remain at schools and public transportation. 10 other states announced last week that they will end the mask mandates, as new reports show that Omicron infections are declining. Some requirements were set to end immediately, and others by March 1st.
Raining a lot of virus out there. As part of those CDC projections, they still think that over the next 4 weeks, 60,000 more people could die. I mean, these are still just tragic numbers. At the same time, the numbers are coming down, and we know Omicron is not as deadly. It doesn't make people as sick as these previous variants.
In New York City, business owners say this is a big step for them to go back to normality, as they have dealt with one of the strictest guidelines in the nation.
I think it's great. I think that, especially in a restaurant, because you're already unmasked as you're eating. So it just makes sense to lift it.
Some health experts say this is the right time to remove the mask mandate, as more communities have a higher vaccination rate.
We're the second most vaccinated state in the country. Right now, we're the 3rd most boosted in the state in the country.
While cases continue to fall, the Biden administration and the CDC still recommends the use of masks indoors, as the virus is substantially transmissible and hospitalization numbers are still high.
It is confusing. It's worrisome to people. They're trying to figure out. But what I've tried to do, I've tried to make sure we have all the vaccines needed, all the boosters needed, all the masks are needed, all the protection that's needed.
Some states moving away from the mandates are now considering if masks should stay in the classrooms, as high percentage of children are not vaccinated or have received at least one dose.
We're reviewing that policy right now, but I think what is going to be more important is that we continue to watch the trends and make sure that we are coming down significantly.
This is Eugenia Schoiden reporting from the South Florida Media Network.
A new work by an internationally acclaimed composer and an FIU distinguished professor premiered in DC last week. The network's Daniela Jaramillo had a front row seat at his performance.
We are here at Florida House in Washington, D.C., where composer Frederick Kaufman is premiering his latest piece, Jacob Wrestling with the Angel. You are listening to Jacob Wrestling with the Angel, the musical imagining of the Bible story of Jacob when he fought with an angel, by Professor Emeritus in Composition at FIU, Frederick Kaufman. Performed by two of the members of the Emirate String Quartet, some of FIU's School of Music faculty, this performance makes history as the first musical performance exclusively depicted before in paintings. The quartet and John Dee from the University of Illinois also joined to play other musical pieces.
In the presence of a very important historic moment for the music and for FIU School of Music.
Kaufman says his three-movement piece tells the story of what Jacob thinks will happen when he meets his brother after stealing his birthright blessing, followed by the battle between Jacob and the angel, who dislocates Jacob's hip, and the third movement, which inspires reflection of the future.
We're living through probably one of the worst periods in the history of this country, and this piece is reflecting the anxiety that goes on in society. And so I think the piece is very relevant to today as we go through this great pain and reflection on where we are and where we're moving to in the future.
And so there's all these mixed emotions that are happening, and we're wrestling really with ourselves. I feel that this piece takes you through a cycle of emotions that really reflect the pandemic.
The audience reacted with cheers and applauses in the room filled with emotions.
First time experiencing a quartet in that intimate of a setting, I literally felt like I was feeling the passion of the artists, the performance themselves.
This concludes a wonderful evening with beautiful music. For SFMN in Washington, D.C., Daniela Jaramillo.
Like Miami, Ocala gets 0 snow and 0 ice in an average year. But 3 Winter Olympians call this Florida city home, and one just took home a gold medal.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
You can't put on a hat and not be 7'5" anymore.
A Florida teenage basketball player who even Shaquille O'Neal has to look up to. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
You really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's the big man on campus at one Florida high school, and it's not just because of how good he is on the basketball court. Olivier Royu has made it to the Guinness World Records as the tallest teenager in the world.
He grew up in Canada and now goes to high school near Tampa. He is 7'5", and at 15 years old, he says height comes from family, and he started growing really fast compared to his friends.
When I was 10, 11, 12, I started growing, and it was getting fast because like every week I was like getting I was like taller than every kids in my school.
Even though his height is an advantage for basketball, he also has a great passion for the sport. He's a great passer and can shoot the three and finish at the rim. For sure, we'll be hearing more about this superstar. Way to go, Olivier.
An Ocala woman wins gold for speed skating at Winter Olympics and talks about her childhood here in Florida. Erin Jackson won the first gold medal for the American speed skating team at the Beijing Olympics. She finished first on Sunday, and in the 500-meter distance during her news conference, Jackson revealed she grew up skating on the same team as Olympian teammates Brittany Bow and Joey Mentia here in Florida.
That's all the time we have in Newsbreak. I'm Janara Strepa.
I'm Anya Joseph. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.